Hi, my friends. I'm Morris Merriweather, the host of Straight Talk in Room 503 and the author of Enough is Enough. Ladies and gentlemen, public education is in trouble. We have an emergency situation on our hands. I'm standing here at our local hospital. That is why you bring in patients who are ill and need of help. Ladies and gentlemen, I brought you here this week because public education should be placed in the hospital so we can get the necessary help that they can provide quality education for our children. Join me. My friends, I'm so glad that you're back with us. I'm here to serve you some information, and I trust that you will grab up a seat and let me serve you this. This is about public vouchers for public schools. The Tennessee Education Association, public advocate for May the 5th, 2015. I want to read some excerpts from this and I want to tie it back together. So bear with me. I just want to make sure that you know I'm not making this stuff up. This stuff is real. We're talking about $130 million that, follow me over here, that is being invested in public schools. That $30 million is not available to provide resources to public schools in the summer. Make no mistakes. If this voucher program passes in the future, teachers will lose their jobs and public schools will close. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the feeling that there are some people out there that want to close public education. And private school is on the increase. They even want to use these vouchers to make it appear that they want to help that little poor kid. That is not true. The money follows the child. Say, for instance, Bubba is not doing well. He's a troublemaker in school. The private school now wants Bubba. Before they was cherry picking the kids they want. Now they got a whole new slate over here. They want to get the kids who are not having a chance to get a good education, they want them into the school. But they're not going to be there long, people. Because what they want to do, they want to get the $5,100 that we, the taxpayers, are paying, because the money follows the child. If he's in school A, it's in school A, but when you go to private school, it follows them. That's the voucher system. Now, once they get that child in there, and if they begin to have problems with them, all they got to do is wait for about 3 months, and the money does not have to be returned, even if they kick Bubba and Susie out. Now, I'm telling you, while we're sleeping, they're working. Now, let's move on here. There's a critical study in Milwaukee, a program that has overwhelmingly helped those already receiving education in private studies. Let me put the paper away. There are vouchers that are out there, and they have woke up and smart enough to say, we can have a child who's already receiving private education due to the fact that they are in the state. They can receive a voucher, and they're already in the school. If they're already in the school and they receive a voucher, that means that the money that their father was paying for them to go can now be put back in his pocket and make the taxpayers pay for it. Now, check this out. The governor of the state of Tennessee is pushing for enough funds for a 4% raise for teachers. But watch this. Administrative policies have allowed school systems to use the fund for items other than pay raise. And it was allocated for pay raise, but they got a little clause. They can use it for whatever they want to use it for. They can hire additional teachers, or they can pay health benefit, save that money, and use it for something. Does that seem like that people care about those kids in public education? In Arizona, 76% of the money handed out in the voucher program has went to children that are already in private schools. That's happening in Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to bore you and continue to read this. I want to ask you, What are you willing to do? It seems to me like the federal government is pimping us. I know that term don't grab you like you want it to, but let's use it. A pimp will pimp someone else to provide services and what have you, and then turn around and you got to pay your pimp. Federal government is pimping us, the taxpayers, for services for public school, but the money is actually going to pay for private schools, because we have those private schools inside our public education system too, and we're paying for it by taxpayers' dollars to save Mr. Jim from having to spend money out of his pocket for his daughter and children, where our kids in public schools suffer for resources and proper teachers, and they're leaving in record numbers. Now, watch this here. A new report says that the federal government can't account for $3.3 billion spent on charter schools in the last 30 years. One more time. Listen to me. New report says that the federal government can't account for $3.3 million spent on charter school in the last 20 years. I said 30, but 20 years. $3.3 billion. Can you imagine how? We could have bought resources, we could have bought computers, we could have taken the kids on field trips that would have been beneficial to them. Our kids wouldn't have been out there at graduation time. You got $1 for our prom? Can you buy a ticket for half of a chicken? Can you buy a chili ticket? They got our kids out there, they pimping our kids. How long are we going to allow this to happen? Ladies and gentlemen, enough is enough. It's time for us to do something. My friends, a lot of time we underestimate children. We're looking at, that's Mr. So-and-so's daughter. She came from this background. He came from a bad background, single parent. That kid, we pushing kids down. We don't know who's going to do what, because God is not finished with any of us, including you and me. There was this student in school that was not motivated, didn't like school, did very poorly. She was a low achiever, and nobody took an interest in her. Thank God that God loves all of us. But no one took an interest in her, and so she dropped out of school. Well, she got out there in the world and she found out she couldn't get a job. She then decided, I think I'll go back to school and see if I can get a better job. She decided, well, I'll tell you what, I think I'll take the GED. So she took that route. Okay, do you remember the GED is equivalent of a high school diploma? So she went to a GED program. She got a GED. She went out in the world, still couldn't get a real good job. So she decided, well, I got a GED. I think I'll go and get my college education. So she went to the school that she graduated from. They had an opening, and she was punching lunch tickets each day. I don't want to do this every day. But she kept on punching those lunch tickets and going to college at night. Lo and behold, 4 years later, she graduated. She says, I think I want to do better than that. I think I want to go and get me a master's degree, get me a better job. And God blessed her that she went and got a master's degree. Ladies and gentlemen, watch this here. An opening at her school where she was a low achiever, where the teachers, administration did not work with her. Watch God work. An opening came available in the paper. She applied for it. She went in and applied for the principal of the same school where she was a low achiever. Don't that tell you about something that you don't know whether a child could turn out to be? And she, in turn, got the job. Today, she is principal of that school where she couldn't get any help. God has a way of working things out. We got to work with everybody's child. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to turn this thing around. I want to say this to you. It's been my pleasure again in room 503, talking to you about public education, vouchers in private schools, and raises for teachers. I hope you got something out of this session. I hope you'll join me again next week, same place, YouTube and Facebook, and my webpage, www.morrismerriweather.com. I hope you'll purchase my book, Enough is Enough. You can get that at Amazon. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it at Books A Million. You can get it from me. And in my local hometown, you can get it in several places. Ladies and gentlemen, I've enjoyed talking to you. It's time we get up and do something. I served you some information today. Now, what will you do with it? I'll see you again. Take care. I'll see you next week.